Welcome to The Favorites, the podcast presented by Bet365. We are part of the Action Network. Today is our NFL Playoffs Wild Card Tuesday NFL episode. I am Chad Millman, Chief Content Officer of the Action Network. All right, we finished our season-long contest with our friends at Bet365. The final week, Simon and I were 2-3 in the contest. We finished 50-40 overall, good for 531st place, top 4.5% out of 12,000 entries. We do have a winner in the contest. We're giving away $40,000 to this person, Jesse Goldberg, a true genius who finished over 71% against the spread. He is now $40,000 richer. Matt Mitchell has said this 1,000 times. Like, he cannot believe we had a contest where in total, for free, we gave away $120,000 in cash prizes throughout the year. Congrats to Jesse Goldberg. We paid out the top 10 finishers, including our second and third place finishers, who won $10,000 and $5,000. And of course, because it's betting and because it's this podcast, the final outcome involves a gross, disgusting, horrendous bad beat. We will get to that at the end of the show. Simon, you're not going to believe this one. On Sunday's show, we previewed the wild card games. A lot of lines we liked have already moved since Sunday, which is why you need to listen to the Sunday show. You want to get the best of the number. On today's show, we will, of course, get to our Simon Says and an exec decision. On Thursday, we will finalize our big balls bet of the week, our foxhole, our money line. Let's bring in my co-host, my BFF, my companion, my compadre, professional bettor, and birthday boy. You say it's your birthday. Na, 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 na. We're gonna have a good time. Simon Hunter. Hello, Simon, my brother.
Chad, we made it. Playoffs,
I
baby.
love you so much. Happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you, Chad. Always nice making it another year, Another trip around the sun.
You did it. Listen, and by the way, it's not easy for you. I'm impressed you made it.
Me too. Especially after surviving 4-hour delay at O'Hara to get back to Jersey. So I'm
Oh
sitting there, I'm like,
no.
is this the worst start to a birthday ever? But no, it's all good now. Made it back to Jersey, all alive and well.
We are on to the playoffs, Simon. This
Yeah,
is
brother.
where we make our money. As a reminder, the Favorites podcast is presented by Bet365. Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. That's why you get more boosts with them than with anyone else. Every day they power up the odds on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more. Bet365 boosts specific markets, your winnings, and even parlays. And they don't stop there. Keep an eye out for their biggest and best odds with the incredible Super Boost. Check out the boost and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and present in Colorado, Iowa, Louisiana, New Jersey, Ohio, Virginia, or 18 and older in Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms, conditions, restrictions apply. As a reminder, catch every episode of The Favorites live on YouTube. For those enjoying on YouTube right now, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page. All right. Before we get to the wild card games, we do have a little bit of housekeeping. Our week 18 winners for the last week of the weekly contest, hardest week of the contest for the whole season, by the way. 35 entries, just 35 went 5-0. A tie for first place. Congrats to Terry Landers and Dave NYC. Enjoy the cash. That was the last week of our giveaway. Our last Producers Cup Award goes to Cade Jackson 666. Congrats, Cade. You finished dead fucking last in the last week of the 18-week contest, going 0-5, missing the tiebreaker by a zillion yards. Cade, please email Matt Mitchell at podcast@actionnetwork.com to claim your non-cash prize. Don't forget, this Sunday, it's coming up. Simon and I, together again, live, Shepherd and the Knucklehead, Hoboken, New Jersey. We got a watch party going on for the games beginning at 4 p.m. Simon and I go live at 7:30. Also an event Saturday with Sean Kerner, Stuckey, me, Chris Raybon, Nick Giffen, the whole gang, 4 o'clock Saturday, the 13th. RSVP to these events. Check out the links in the episode description. All right, Simon. I know Sunday was a sweat because we needed the Bills to cover to go 2-3 in the contest. I also had the under in the game, but we also needed Tyreek Hill to get 33 yards to win the receiving title. Fortunately, he did it early in the game. He did not make us sweat. He beat CeeDee Lamb by 50 yards to win that title, finished with 17.99. We cashed. We cashed a 9-1 Tyreek Hill ticket. What do you think of that?
Needed it bad. Yeah, that game had a stupid amount of money on it. And when I left for my flight to get back here, I literally got on the plane. I'm taking off when Tua got the ball back. So I guess they had stopped Josh Allen on 4th and 1, and my plane is going up into the air. So Tua's getting the ball back, and I'm like, oh my God, now I'm not going to know for the next 5 hours or 6 hours, whatever it was. It was awful. But yeah, the public's been winning, we keep saying, and
Yeah.
that was icing on the cake. That was one of my bigger bets early in the year, where the Bills to win that division. I thought it was dead for sure. And our guy, Mike Vrabel, once again, saved our season, coming back 14 points down in the fourth quarter, Will Levis, and gave us a chance at this crazy run. So, yeah, anyone that listened to us 3 or 4 weeks ago and bet the Bills to make this kind of run, I think it was like plus 400, plus 350 or something like that. But crazy. Like, this Bills run has been insane. They've been playing playoff games for 5 weeks now. So any team's prepared for this playoff run, it's definitely a Bills team.
More on the Bills to come later in the show. We cashed Tyreek Hill 9-1 to win the receiving yardage title. Also, we got Jalen Carter 7-1 ish to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Will Anderson, he made a run at the end. He did not get any more sacks on Sunday. We can be fingers crossed that Carter, who had the shortest odds by a mile to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, still wins the award, even though the Eagles kind of limped to the end of the season. Our records for the end of the year. We just gave the record we had for our weekly faves 5. Our foxhole went 10-8. Our Simon Says went 8-8-2. Our exec decisions went 10-8. Unfortunately, our big balls bet of the week went 7-11. We had 7 straight losses from week 8 to week 14. Look, this was a year where favorites covered at an inordinate rate, unlike we've ever seen before. And our big balls bet of the week is usually going to be on a pretty big underdog where we like the spot. So, and
yeah,
that week 8,
that's all Jets and Carolina bets.
Yeah, by the way, and by the way, like that week 8 to week 14 is about when that run for favorites was at its peak. So, it's not surprising that's when it happened. You mentioned Mike Vrabel, Simon, before we came on the air today. Mike Vrabel was fired by the Tennessee Titans. We got to pour one out for Mike Vrabel. MVP, and that stands for Mike Vrabel Podcast, because we have made some serious coin backing Mike Vrabel while he has been with the Tennessee Titans. I love the guy. I think back to, they played the Patriots, Tom Brady's last game, playoffs at Tennessee. Brady threw a pick at the end of the game, but the reason the Patriots were in such a dire state at the end of that game is because Vrabel was pulling a Belichick playbook in terms of using the rules to call timeouts, take penalties, call timeouts, run out the clock. Just brilliant strategy, the way he managed the clock and what he did with a roster that was never top flight in Tennessee. I'd want this guy coaching my team in 2 seconds.
Yeah, gonna be one of those guys that anyone that has a coach now they don't really believe in, or if you have a coach that just left, you want Vrabel. I mean, go look at the quarterbacks he just did what Chad talked about with. It's like Tannehill, probably the best quarterback out of the bunch, right? Is that really saying that much? Because I mean, Tannehill is an all right guy, but no one thinks of that guy as ever being a top 10 guy in this league. So, the fact that he did all that with Mariota types and, different plethora of quarterbacks that filled in there, it's pretty incredible. I mean, like we say all the time, like he's got that Tomlin effect. He's an incredible motivator. Just this year, I wish they had done what I thought they were going to do before the season, which is like really actually tank it, right? Like trade
Yeah.
Tannehill, get rid of Derrick Henry, really let the young guys play. And, just because of Vrabel, they kind of believed in the team. They're like, no, we can make another run. Um, it wasn't there. They just were not a good team this season. So they were good to us. We found their rhythm. They were just good at home, bad on the road. And that's exactly what they were this season. As a dog, they were good to us at home.
Mike Vrabel finishes his career with the Titans 51-50-3 against the spread, but
Crazy.
that included 27-30 straight up as an underdog.
Yeah.
That included 31-24-2 against the spread as a dog, which is why we love Mike
Wow.
Vrabel, because he covered and won as a dog. His 27-30 straight up mark as a dog makes him the third most profitable of 150 coaches in the past 20 years, behind, interestingly, Tom Cable, formerly of the Raiders, small sample size, and Mike Tomlin. But he has been the most profitable coach as a dog on the money line since he was hired in 2018. Congrats, Mike Vrabel. Great run. You have the respect of the betting community. We will follow you wherever you go. Time to get to the wild card round, my friend.
Yeah.
First game up, Cleveland or Houston. We talked about this on Sunday night. At Sunday night, it opened at 2. My first instinct, I said to you, was Houston. Your first instinct was Cleveland. It moved down to 1.5. It is now moved up from 1.5 back to 2 to 2.5. I have to use your very big word for the birthday boy, plethora. I have a plethora.
Did I use that right?
You did. You
Oh,
nailed it.
wow. Shocking.
Yeah, no, you nailed it. Smarter with age, my friend. It's what
Yeah.
happens. You get older, all you got left is your vocabulary.
It must have been on my, you turn your page in your calendar, you get every day you get a new word. It must have been that word of the day.
That's your word for your birthday. I'm going to give you some stats before you tell me why you like Cleveland, because I know you do. Texans were 6-3 at home this year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One of those losses was without CJ Stroud, when Joe Flacco and Amari Cooper had the game of their lives, and Cooper had 265 yards receiving. Again, CJ Stroud didn't play. CJ at home in 8 games, 2,500 yards passing, 9 yards per completion, 17 touchdowns, 310 yards per game, 108 passer rating. The Browns defense on the road, average rushing yards gained is nearly 2 yards higher, gave up twice as many touchdown passes, nearly 3 yards more per pass attempt, in one fewer game on the road than at home. So 8 games versus 9 games. They gave up 112 more points and allowed 30 points per game. They went 3-5 on the road. I know it's a new season. I know playoffs are different. I know CJ Stroud is a rookie. As Jay Cutler might say, don't care.
You should though. You should. It's a real thing. It's just really tough as a rookie playing in the playoffs because it's so different. And people can tell you how it's different and how it's a different feeling. But you don't know until you play, and that's what the players keep talking about. So I want to be on Chad's side. And lucky for me, the playoffs, I can be very patient. I can pick my spots because the books will take money. Like this is the kind of games they'll take money on any of these games. It's not like the regular season where they take positions, they take spots, and they don't really take that much money. With playoffs, they're happy to take money based on any game. Obviously, if you're someone that's limited better and you're limited on betting online, it's different. I tell people all the time, if you get banned, you got to start getting your ass out of bed, driving to the books. All right. Put the mask on, suck it up like the rest of us. Quit bitching online about being banned. Everyone gets banned. This is just a classic game that what Chad's talking about. Like if this gets to +3, I'm gonna have to take Houston. So it really is a numbers game here where I want to take Flacco, the veteran quarterback, with Jim Schwartz, the veteran defensive coordinator, against a rookie head coach and a rookie defense and a rookie, quarterback. And it's all just so young for Houston. They're a year or two early. Like it's incredible what they've done. Obviously, they had some luck, right? They had a lot of things break their way. The Jaguars going 1-5 down the stretch helped. Um, but yeah, the Joe Flacco story, Chad, like it's really lined up for him and this Browns team to make a crazy run. And I want to believe in the Browns so bad. That's the hardest part here. But Chad's talking about the line movement, and it's moving towards the Texans, and that's where the value is going to be. Like if this gets to +3, that's the value play on Houston. But come Sunday, if this is still under 3, Chad, I'm probably going to end up taking the Browns. It's just the Joe Flacco, everything about it. Yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this. I feel confident as Joe Flacco as a road favorite if it's under 3.
Do you have this rated?
No, I got a value right now for Houston. I got this at 2. So I should have taken the 1.5, but at the time I was just like, it feels too easy. I didn't trust that number at all. And no, it's a good number. Like the books are sharp. They know what they're doing. So the professionals, they came in, they moved the number 2.5. Like that's what it should be. Like if it gets the 3, I know other pros are just waiting to slam that number because you got the 1.5 and you can get the 3 now. I know it sounds stupid, but that's a nice middle play. Like it's shocking amount of times it lands on 2 or 3. So that's what's going to happen. If they do move to 3, that's a big deal because the books know they're going to have guys trying to play both sides.
You mean you want a Millman in because that's what we call the middling right now. How much do you change your power rankings for the playoffs? Or how do you adjust them? How do you incorporate playoffs into power ratings?
A lot goes into it, but it's honestly more about going with your gut and what other people are hearing. Models don't really mean shit in such a small sample. Like, you think a model can predict that run that Joe Flacco had with the Ravens? You think models can predict Nick Foles having that run with the Eagles team? It's like, no, those things are tough where if the numbers say, like that Eagles team we were just talking about, if the numbers say that has an incredibly good D line, their defense is better than people are giving credit to. They actually are pretty good offensively. There's not that big of a difference between Nick Foles and Wentz. Some people can find crazy value that way and go on these crazy runs. But for someone like me, last year was the odd like last year was weird, right? We talked about last year. It was both 1 seeds made it to the Super Bowl. I was all in on those 2 1 seeds. I talked about it the whole playoff run, bet them both the whole run. That's not normal. That's usually not like that for me. I don't really like taking that because we see all the time in football. It's a one game, winner take all. Random shit's going to happen. Teams match up well, teams get hot. That's what I'm banking on this year. I think we're due for a crazy wild card runner. So, like we're going to go through these games here. Chad's going to start picking up on how I view a lot of these games. Like I do like a couple of these underdogs this week.
This is a luck rankings under game, according to Nick Giffen. In the playoffs, the past 5 years, luck rankings under games, or luck total games with a number that is in the range of it's complicated to say, but let's just say a luck rankings game 29-11 against the total. I'm not saying this well at all. Matt Mitchell, you'll clean this up. Live listeners, I'm sorry. Nick Giffen says this is a luck rankings total game. Luck rankings total games in the playoffs the past 5 years, 29-11, 72% against the spread. So the total on this has been 44.5. It got bet down to 44. Also, home dogs the past 20 years in the playoffs, 15-12-2 against the spread, but 9-9-2 against the spread in the wild card round, but home dogs less than a field goal in any round, 9-2-1 against the spread since 2000. So everything you're saying is right. Like, to me, I haven't bet the Texans yet. because I wanted to follow up on the conversation because I was trying to grok like why you loved Cleveland. And then yesterday I was doing my research and, recited all the litany of stats and was still trying to figure out why does he like Cleveland? And like, I'm just waiting for the number to get to 3.
Yeah. Yeah, that to me feels like a move. And then if it does move down, should give Chad even more confidence. That means the professional finally came in and hit this Houston team where I think most pros like me right now are just waiting. The pros I know came in on the Browns. They moved the number down to 1.5 and they hit it. They moved up and now they're just kind of waiting for that Houston 3.
Well, look, the money and the tickets are all coming in on Cleveland right now. So I would expect that the number is going to get to 3. And these lines have been moving late on game day, probably more than I've ever seen in a season. Like that last 2 hours before the game, we're seeing pretty decent sized movements around key numbers. Um, Miami at Kansas City. Reminder, Kansas City's a 3.5 point favorite. Fascinating games. I started to develop an opinion in this game yesterday. Reminder, this game is streaming live only on Peacock, the NBC streaming service.
That sucks.
Yeah. Lined open at 3. So, by the way, it's the way of the world going forward, Simon. It just is. Gotta live
It'll
with it.
change though. Like they got really lucky with most people in my generation don't mind. Most millennials, like apparently 42% of millennials are all sports fans, which is the highest demographic for generations. The generation right behind me, they're out. They don't like this BS of like, if I want to watch an NBA game, I need 5 different streaming services to watch one NBA game. It's ridiculous. So the NFL is getting to that point now where there's too much stuff. So I think we'll have 10 years of this bullshit and then I'll come back around to get back to cable. It's
Well,
just
by the way, let me tell you something. The generation right behind you, despite the fact of your advancing age, the generation behind you is 15 years old. Okay.
no, they're not.
I know
They're
because
22, 23.
I live with one of them.
Yeah,
And
your kid, you work in sports and you're a writer. You force sports down their throats. I'm sure your kids are into sports some way, but most normal guys out there that don't give a damn about sports, their kids don't care either, you know?
guy, I was about to support you. Don't come after me. What I'm saying is like the generation behind you, they don't know the difference between cable and streaming and streaming only because they're not paying for shit. They're not paying attention to shit. All they know is they sit down on the couch, they turn on the remote, the game they want is right in front of them. That's all they know.
And then they turn their phone on. They don't even watch the
And
game.
then they turn their phone on and they're on their phone the entire fucking game. It's just astonishing. All right, this line opened at 3. I'm moving on from my grumpy old man, get off the grass, yelling. The line opened at 3, moved up to 3.5. I kind of have an opinion on this game, but before I even give all my stats, I kind of want to hear what you have to say.
I mean, you were supposed to bet the Chiefs when it was 3. That was definitely the move. And the weather is the biggest reason. Like,
Yes.
if this was 35 and sunny, I would love, and Mostert's playing, I would love Miami so much. This Chiefs team, like way too much respect being given to them with this number. Now it's up to 4 for the simple reason that the pros are hitting this because it's supposed to be -1 degrees. And it's
Yeah.
like Tua, a Hawaiian who played in the South, has never played in a game apparently below 30 degrees. Miami, their long history of this franchise have always struggled. Doesn't matter if it was the 70s or the 2000s, they've always struggled historically going from Miami to some cold place to play outdoors. The numbers are real. The numbers back it up. So I'm pissed. I wanted to take Miami. Like this was such a great spot. Another dog I loved. I mean, +4 now, it's sickening. Like I want to take that so bad, but I can't do it if it's going to be 0 degrees. It's like it's such bad luck for this Miami team. It's just I would be sick if I was a fan of that team. Like you guys had it, you had your own home playoff, you had the 2 seed, and now you got to go to Kansas City in 0 degree weather against Mahomes. It's just such a bad spot. But yeah, it sucks. This number keeps growing. I might eventually have to bet it, but right now, what's my motivation to bet it? There is none. But if you want the Chiefs, Chad just told you it's 3.5 right now. Bet 365. You better go grab it because it's going up to 4, and I know it's going to keep going. Every pro I talk to, they're just like, it's 2 in the cold. Like, why are you backing them? And I just keep arguing it's that run, the running style of Miami. That's what's been their success this year, right? Like that running style with Mostert. If he's gone, I can't back Miami here. I'll either sit it out or I'll end up taking the Chiefs maybe.
So, a couple other things that are on my mind for this game. One of them you mentioned. Look, this team was a record-setting offense throughout the year. At one point during the season, let me see if I can find those notes here. At one point during the season, they were Buffalo was minus 140 to win the AFC East on October 2nd. Miami was plus 138. On December 1st, Miami was minus 400. Buffalo was plus 1,500. And Miami still did not win the AFC East. And that was to me,
Yeah.
a gut punch of a loss mentally. Now you got to pick yourself up off the mat. You got
They
to go.
dominated. They dominated that game defensively. Like they
Yeah,
had Josh Allen have a bad game, and they couldn't do a single thing on offense.
they couldn't do anything on offense. And now the Dolphins defense, they don't have Chubb. They
Nope.
don't have Jalen Phillips. Cameron Good, another pass rusher, lost during the Bills game.
Howard's banged up.
Howard is banged up. They've got Melvin Ingram off the street in December.
You look good though, shockingly.
Less than a month with the team, lining up in coverage on rookie tight ends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Scary.
It's going to be windy. It's going to be negative temperature. I had to walk my dog in 19 degrees this morning. Mentally, I wasn't there. I forgot the poop bags because I had to put on so many fucking clothes. I walked outside. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I didn't even put them in my pocket. So like, I don't have to play football, and I'm not from Miami. Like, it's going to be a miserable day, and they just lost a brutal game that they should have won.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to do. I want to take Miami here, but the play just feels like the Chiefs in the under. Like you just laid it all out. These teams have already faced each other. It's bad.
Yeah, like we still owe, as Simon says, we still owe an exec decision. Exec decision 2 games above 500 this season. 10-8. We owe it. The listeners, the viewers, they need the exec decision because that's their moneymaker. I
Yeah.
gotta give them one. I
With the
got to.
juice, with the juice, they just made the money.
That's right. Just barely. Um, uh, but I don't think Kansas City is going to be my exec decision. Uh,
Could play the under if you want.
what's the total on this game right now? 44?
Yeah.
I'm not there on that. I mean, I'm going to play the under in this game, but
I mean,
that,
we already all missed the value play. I think it was like 47 and a half, and now it's down to 44.
yeah. So that's kind of why I'm not looking to play this game because I'm worried about the value going both ways.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Pittsburgh and Buffalo because this game, you know what? I'm going to say it right now. Exec decision. Give me the Buffalo Bills.
God damn it. I
Were you
like
going to do
Pittsburgh.
Simon Says?
No, I like Pittsburgh.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a sucker though. Like I'm a sucker for these big
Dude,
numbers. The
dude.
number moved 3 points because TJ Watt's out. That's wild. That's crazy to think.
Yeah. So, the bets and the money, TJ Watt's out. But look, Pittsburgh 1-10 straight up without Watt since he joined
I
the
know.
team.
I know.
1-6 in the last 7 games, 31st in DVOA without him. 18-9 straight up and against the spread with TJ Watt. 1-6, 2-4 against the spread without him. Steelers 70-46 straight up, 62-54 against the spread with him since 2017. 1-10, 4-6-1 in 11 games without him. Like, it's just the side.
Yeah. I can't get there because it's the Josh Allen effect, man. The dude can't stop turning the ball over. Like he just cannot stop turning the ball over. And 10 points for a guy that can't be consistent is, scary. Like that's a lot of points for a dude that keeps these games tight because you can't stop turning the ball over. It's
Betting is scary.
it is.
A wise man once said that to me. A wise man who's now older once said that to me.
I'm just shocked you're not scared by all this movement, man. That's a lot to move it. It's moved from 7 all the way up to 10. That's
It
pretty
has.
insane.
I agree. And so here's two more things that I have the benefit of knowing already, which you might not know yet.
Here we
Number
go.
one, it's a big luck game according to luck rankings, and the luck rankings are devised against the closing line. So I feel like I'm still getting the number I want at 10. Also, from Stuckey, who sent this in, QBs making their first playoff start versus a QB who has playoff experience. And this plays to your Joe Flacco, CJ Stroud, 17-35-1 against the spread, 17-36 straight up since 2002. So that applies to CJ Stroud and Flacco, Tua and Mahomes, Mason Rudolph and Josh Allen, and Jordan Love versus Dak Prescott.
Yeah, damn. That I mean, every time you see the stat, it is like such a killer where you want to take these young guys, exciting new quarterbacks, and it's just like you got to go with the Grizzly vet, like the guys who've been there. You're right. Like I do want to back Buffalo. I'm just worried the line moved too much, overreaction to the Watt news. Watt is obviously incredible, but they have a couple guys in that D line that get pressure, right? I feel like every week there's just multiple guys getting pressure, and that could be because they got 2 or 3 guys all catered
Yeah.
to TJ Watt. But you said it. We know their record without him. Again, if TJ was playing this game, I promise you I would have been all over Pittsburgh's money line. No chance I'll be on Pittsburgh's money line anyway. Like they don't win without TJ. He's the X factor. Um, the Bills are due for a blowout win. They've not played well, and it feels like 4 weeks. Like every
Yeah.
game they keep teams in it, all these close games just because of the turnovers. Um, I know he's not having an incredible season, but Gabe Davis got a little banged up last week. Diggs has not looked right in about 6 weeks ever since the new OC's taken over, which the run game has excelled, but that's what suffered. The play of Diggs has suffered these last couple of weeks. So a lot of questions for me with the Bills. Too many questions for me to take it at 10. It's Chad's exact decision, so I'll back my guy, but I am scared.
I love it.
Yeah.
I freaking love it. All right. Well, that's good. That's good. We're going
I
with
like
the
the over
Bills.
too. If people want to party, I'm partying on the over. I just a lot of turnovers, a lot of short fields. Rudolph, I think he's gonna be turning it over. Just way too low. I know there's supposed to be weather. It's Tuesday. Like predicting the weather for Sunday in Buffalo, it's impossible. No one knows how the lake's going to affect the weather by the time Sunday rolls around. So I'll take that number now, that the fact that it's 36 and a half, 37 is such a key number. We see so many games finish 2017. So I'll take the over right now, 36 and a half.
I like that too. Simon, we've entered a brand new year, but to keep delivering the best podcast we can, I need to ensure you're keeping up on the latest news. So I'm going to ask you just one more time if you can name the fastest growing ticketing app in the United States.
Game time.
That's right. It's our sponsor, Game Time. I love Game Time for two reasons. One, they sponsor this show. Number two, I actually use Game Time to buy tickets. They've got amazing last minute deals on all sorts of tickets, including pro and college football games. Speaking of which, I'm actually going to open Game Time right now from my house here in Connecticut. Look what I can do. I can get in to go see the New York Knickerbockers at the Mecca, Madison Square Garden, for less than $100 against the Portland Trailblazers. No matter where you live, download the Game Time app, get out, have some fun this week, go sweat your bets live and in person, and you can redeem code favorites for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, just download the app and enter code favorites for $20 off last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, another one of those games. A veteran quarterback in Dak Prescott versus a first time in the playoff quarterback in Jordan Love. Sunday night, I had to go back and listen to the podcast to make sure I got your comments correct. We talked about this game. The line immediately moved from 7 to 7.5. Simon Hunter's quote. I am shocked it moved this way. We didn't want to bet it yet because we wanted to get more intel on why the line moved in this direction, since we both thought the Packers were the right side
Yeah.
at 7. Have you heard anything in the past 48 hours?
I know the pros are split. I know plenty of pros that like Dallas, which I can't believe. I don't buy it, man. This Dallas team, I know they blew out Brady last year in the playoffs. That was pretty incredible what they did to the Bucks team. And I was one of those idiots that was on the Bucks who lost by whatever it was, 30 points to Dak. Um, but man, 7.5 is just it's a lot of points for a Dallas team that we've seen time and time again. The ball can be moved on them. And Green Bay last week, they didn't play the perfect game, right? Like they didn't play that amazing. Jordan Love wasn't out of this world. I think they scored 17 points. Um, but you saw with LaFleur, when things aren't working, he can still scheme up guys open. Like he can still get the right guys in the right position to get first downs consistently. So the argument against our Green Bay pick is their defense is so bad that Dallas is going to
Yep.
have an absolute field day against them with this offense. But I'm just not buying it. Like the Green Bay knows what they have to do, right? They're going to double CD, and that's kind of the force there is you take away the passing game. You want to make them run it with Pollard. I mean, they haven't had a really strong running game this season, but the issue is Green Bay has one of the worst run defenses in football. So it's like I don't know what they can do defensively to get stops against Dallas. Like, it really would have to be Dak beating himself for them to kind of lose this game. But I said it. I'm going to force some dogs in. I'm going to end up forcing Green Bay in. It's just 7.5. I got to be a buyer at that number. And the books might be sucking me in at that number. I remember last year we had the exact same scenario of Daniel Jones coming off a big win against the Vikings going to Philadelphia. And I said on the show, if that number had moved to 7, it was going to be my biggest bet of the playoffs on the Eagles. It was just like the hype was way too high on that Giants team. I don't think we're getting the same type of hype here with Green Bay. I don't think they end up as a public dog. I do think the public, between the teasers, the money line parlays, everything will keep coming in on this Dallas team. So I'm not as worried as I would have been if they were such a public dog. You don't really back public dogs usually in the playoffs. We have one coming up here. But yeah, it's 7.5. I like Green Bay at this number, people. It's like if this number dips below 7, I would felt way better about this Green Bay bet. So I am a little scared that the pros have come in so heavy on this Cowboys team and bumped this up. And now it's holding. Like it's been holding at 7.5 now for 2 days. So
Yeah.
uh, the books have clearly taken up position now with this Dallas team.
Yeah, it hasn't moved. We thought like it might move a little bit at some point
Yeah.
over the last 48 hours. It hasn't. Uh, Dak Prescott and Jordan Love, top 2 touchdown passers, both had more than 4,000 yards, both threw for more than 7 yards per attempt. I think if you look at this, the Packers, I think, have the better coach, but they have the first year quarterback on the road in his first playoff game.
Yeah.
The Cowboys do have the better defense. I would also say that Jordan Love under pressure is exquisite. Like the Minnesota Vikings, they tried to blitz him. It didn't work. The Chicago Bears, they tried to flush him out of the pocket. It didn't work. We talked about this on Sunday. Jordan Love's ability to roll right or roll back and throw off balance and be accurate and find open receivers, it's already upper echelon in terms of quarterbacks in the NFL. He's just amazing at it. And the fact that the Packers got rid of Aaron Rodgers and is now doing a better job of ripping ESPN executives and spreading conspiracy theories and lies than he is at doing anything on the football field because of injuries. And Jordan Love, in his first year as a starter, is the second highest touchdown passer in the NFL. As a Bears fan, it makes me sick. And I cannot believe the Packers have another quarterback issue solved for 30 straight years.
Yeah, and I said it, and people kept giving the Green Bay shit for drafting him. I still think it's one of the better draft picks we've seen the last 5 or 6 years because they got 2 MVPs out of Rodgers, able to trade him for a couple first round picks or whatever it was. And then they got Jordan Love who stepped in now. And it's insane that draft class, that Herbert, Burrow, Tua, Hurts, now Jordan Love draft class. We've never seen anything like it in football where it's like multiple guys, all Pro Bowlers, you know, any of those guys, people basically take for their team, right? Like there's consistently maybe 12 to 15 guys that you feel good about. The fact that 5 of them are from one draft class, we've never seen it. So I had a lot of doubts with Jordan Love. I just remember that Chiefs game. Obviously, it's a bad spot, right? His first start playing against the Chiefs and Mahomes, and he just could not do a single thing offensively. Like he just looked totally lost. Whatever he did this past offseason, like he got a taste of the league. He knew it was going to be his team, and the fact you just said he's top 3, whatever it is, and passing touchdowns in his first year as a starter.
Top 2. He's just behind Dak.
Like that is mind blowing. So yeah, just don't overreact. As someone that almost had a Wentz MVP, keep it even keel, Green Bay, but you got to be feeling pretty damn good if you're a Green Bay fan.
Couple more stats. Dak Prescott at home is a favorite of more than a touchdown, 14-7 and 1 against the spread.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Pretty
That's a lot of
good.
That's a lot of Washington and Giants mixed in.
Could be. No, you're totally right, by the way. Jordan Love, first half of the season versus the second half of the season. First half, weeks 1 through 10, 16th in EPA per play, 25th in success rate, 38th in completion percentage.
Yikes.
Week 11 on, 2nd in EPA per play, 4th in success rate, 6th in completion percentage. So look, the Packers right now, they're the 5th youngest playoff team since the merger in 1970, 54 years. But Jordan Love's ascendance in the second half of the year, a combination of him getting smarter, Matt LaFleur getting smarter, those receivers getting better, that's a team to reckon with.
Yeah, I mean that's incredible. He had that kind of turnaround second half because most guys does not work that way. Usually there's a big drop off. I mean, a guy we talked about at the start of the show, Jalen Carter, he fell off that rookie cliff. It's just really hard to play for 18 weeks straight. And the fact that he had that kind of turnaround midway through the season, it's just a testament to that coaching staff and Jordan Love. Just an incredible combination.
LA Rams at the Detroit Lions. Great game, great narrative. The Lions are 3.5-point favorites. It opened at 4. We talked about it on Sunday. As it was at 4, it was moving to 3.5. We all slammed it at 3.5. It's kind of just settled there. A couple of questions. How much does Sam Laporta being out matter? How much can this Rams offense light up a Lions defense that is graded 4th worst against pass coverage by Pro Football Focus? Rams have been one of the best teams in the league at passes completed 20 yards or more downfield. Sean McVay as an underdog, 21-16-2 against the spread. I mean, we like the Rams here.
Simon says take the Rams.
Simon says LA Rams plus 3.5.
I told you I do bet differently in the playoffs, and this is a big situation of how I bet differently, where I'm not as terrified to take certain public dogs, and this would be a spot with that, where it's just like I think a lot of pros who do like the lines, I don't really trust their reasoning behind it, where it's like it's just them kind of bad mouthing this Rams team and their defense, where I don't know if I go through it, I feel like the Rams, even though they had no first round picks for freaking 10 years and no second round picks and all these guys they drafted in these 4th and 5th rounds have worked out. Like they have a couple guys they've drafted on the defensive line who no one's going to know their names. I don't even know their names, and they've really helped Aaron Donald. Like if you didn't know, Aaron Donald had another amazing season, but I know he's not been mentioned just because he didn't have the usual season that he does, where it's like 50 pressures and 15 sacks. Like TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, those guys just had such incredible seasons that they kind of left Darnold for out of the conversation of winning the defensive MVP, but he's played incredible this season. Like Chad already talked about it. Like these receivers they have, Cooper Kupp and Puka, and then Williams in the backfield. Like it's all there for this Rams team, and they're one of my favorite dark horses for making a Super Bowl run out of this NFC. Like there's no other team I really feel like that can beat the 49ers right now in the NFC than this team, the Rams. It's the honest truth. Like, have zero faith in the Eagles, have zero faith in Dallas. Like, all these guys have to go to play against the 49ers at, you know, a stadium that's just rocking. It's hard to back all these guys who aren't going to be these veteran quarterbacks, where it's like Stafford has it all checked off. He's used to playing against the 49ers. He knows their system, all this stuff, but it all starts here. And arguably the most emotional game of the entire weekend, right? Like, he put out a 10-minute video just talking about what Detroit means to him and how it made him from like a boy from college, from Georgia, into the man he is now. And it's like a really heartfelt message. And how is that not going to be wearing him? That's definitely going to be in Stafford's head, but that's canceled out by Goff. Like what we talked about with Goff, where it's like that's another side where he's gonna have to control his rage and him seeing red, because this is the definition of a revenge spot, right? We talked about it. It's like the Rams literally told the man, we're gonna get someone that can actually get us to the promised land. We're gonna replace you with Stafford, a guy we believe that can get us there. We don't believe in you, even though you just got us to a Super Bowl 2 years before. We're moving on. He talked about it. He'd kind of given up on himself. He had lost faith, where it's like he had a ton of self-doubt. And Campbell and Ben Johnson built it back these last 3-4 years, and both teams won. Like we say it all the time, Detroit won the trade, the Rams won the trade. It's the rare both teams won, and it's only fitting they're playing in this first round. But I don't get the number. I don't really get what the pros are saying here when they're like, this Detroit team is so clearly better. I just don't see it that way. Now you're factoring Laporte is out. That's such a huge deal. It is such a big deal. Who the number one tight end in football? It's crazy to say, but he is by the numbers the number one tight end in football. So much stuff they design around him. It's a big deal. So me and Chad joked about before coming on here that Laporte is out. We're gonna like them, and then you mix in the fact that Nick Mullins almost put his team in a spot to win against the same Detroit team last week. They just don't have the guys on defense to get stops. So Stafford back against the wall. I love this spot. Like plus 3.5, taking the money line. It's the same thing when they had the Super Bowl run. People forget the public were actually on the Rams and taking them at plus 3.5 against the Bucs, and they won that game outright. I mean, most people remember this. They bet it. Brady was down like 28 points, came all the way back. Stafford had one of the most insane throws ever to Cooper Kupp, put them in the field to kick a field goal to win. It's like they've been this spot before. So incredible story for Detroit. Just I feel like it's a terrible matchup for them. Like if they would have caught the Eagles, that's the dream scenario where it's like I think they would have beat the Eagles or whoever. But the Rams, I think they're a better team right now. I'm going to back this team. So it's the more public play of the week for me, but I love the Rams here.
Sam Laporta, you mentioned tight end. He had 10 touchdowns in his rookie year. Sam Laporta, Rob Gronkowski, Mike Ditka. 82 receptions is the most ever for a rookie tight end in NFL history, beating the record set by Keith Jackson, former Philadelphia Eagle, not ABC broadcaster. But most important for what you were saying about how he impacts the Lions offense, second in receiving first downs for Detroit this year, second behind only Amon-Ra St. Brown. So there's an immediate safety valve component to this where Jared Goff will not have a guy who has become so important to how he executes the offense. A couple other stats. Well, let's see. Home teams who missed the playoffs the year prior, Lions, 30-49 against the spread in the playoffs over the past 20 years. When those teams are favorites, 19-40, 32%.
Like that.
So we like both of those trends. By the way, the first trend includes Houston. So we don't like it for Houston if we're going to back Houston, but we like it for the Rams. Last game on the board. Philadelphia at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's 2.5. This is moved in the direction of the Bucs. Baker's banged up. Jalen Hurts is banged up. The Eagles are in a free fall. The Bucs actually did what good teams do. They beat bad teams in trap games on the road when it matters most. The Jags couldn't do it. The Eagles kind of couldn't do it. I don't really want to bet this game, I'll be honest, but I feel like we kind of have to bet the Bucs. Reminder, home dogs of less than a field goal in the playoffs since 2009, 2-1. In the wild card round, betting the dog doesn't really matter. It's 9-2. But this Eagles team, they could win the game, but I feel like Baker's got moxie.
He does, but like the guy I talked to he's got the good news and the bad news with this Bucks team. He always knows what's going on with them. He says it's all bad right now for Baker. Baker's apparently got a bad ankle, he's got a bad shoulder.
All
Hurts
right, well,
didn't
that's
break.
important.
That's important. Hurts didn't break his finger apparently. He just dislocated or sprained it. I don't know if you've heard anything. I just from what I hear, he did not break it. But Chad's right. Like everything about this makes me want to take Tampa, but every pro I talk to has just been slamming this Eagles team. This number opened at 1.5. Now it's up to 3. I'm gonna grab the 3 with the Eagles. It's just if Baker's banged up, Eagles are in a spot to get right against this Bucks team. It feels the same scenario last year with Dallas against this Bucks team. It's like we know that the Bucks aren't that good, right? Like they had a lot of lucky wins, a lot of crazy stuff happened where it really was the Baker effect. Like Baker had these incredible last minute drives. Him and Mike Evans, shout out to our guy Brandon Anderson, gave out Mike Evans to lead the league in touchdowns. Just him and Baker have this incredible connection this season that's been crazy. So it's hard to go against that where the Eagles have one of the worst pass defenses I've ever seen in my life watching football. Like, I mean, Taylor last week could do whatever he wanted passing against this defense. So if I get news that Baker has gotten better, his shoulder's healed by the time this game rolls around on Monday, don't be shocked in the app if you do see me take the Bucks. But as we sit here right now, if I know he's banged up, I know how much better this Eagles team that offensively they should be able to run the ball at will against this Bucks team and basically do whatever they want against this Bucks team. I got to back this Eagles. So I'm gonna grab it now just in case it does keep going up. I'll grab the 3 in case news comes out that Baker's really banged up. This number could easily jump up to 4. If he's out, what do you see this number get up to? 6, 6.5?
Oh
If
my
it's if
God.
it's Trask, yeah. So just to be safe, I'm gonna take the Eagles now at this number because it has been running up, and I can tell you every pro I've talked to so far, they do like this spot.
All right. As a reminder, Simon, you can catch every episode of The Favorites live on YouTube. For those enjoying on YouTube, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page. Also, The Favorites is presented by Bet365. Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. That's why you get more boosts with them than with anyone else. Every day, they power out the odds on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more. Bet365 boosts specific markets, your winnings, and even parlays, and they don't stop there. Keep an eye out for their biggest and best odds with the incredible Super Boost. Check out the boosts and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and present in Colorado, Iowa, Louisiana, New Jersey, Ohio, Virginia, or 18 and older in Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms, conditions, restrictions apply. Before we go, again, we do want to congratulate our first place winner, Jesse Goldberg, one more time, as well as our second and third place finishers, Sam and Nolan. To finish first, Jesse endured quite a week 18. Producer Matt Mitchell, is going to come on and explain how things went down and how it all comes back to one team that has cursed us all. Matthew.
That's right, Chad. It's the whole world. The gambling world this season revolves around the beloved Carolina Panthers. So, like you mentioned, there's 3 entries that were battling for first place and the $40,000 grand prize. Jesse, Nolan, and Sam. Jesse was in the lead, but if either Nolan or Sam gained one game, they would win. Sam would win by having more wins, and Nolan would win on tiebreaker differential. So, first up, let's see if Nolan can gain a game. Jesse, the leader, picks Las Vegas, Tennessee, Chicago, and Atlanta. Those are 4 of the games. And Nolan picks, let's see, Las Vegas, Tennessee, Chicago, Atlanta. Oh, shit. You're going to need to win, and he's going to need to lose. Jesse selected Buffalo. That's a winner. And Nolan selected the Rams. That's a winner. They both go 3-2. That sucks. Nolan would finish third, pick up 5 Gs. Not a bad day at the office. Sam, who will be joining us live in person for our Sunday live show at the Shepherd and the Knucklehead in beautiful New Jersey, and who seems like a swell guy. That guy needs to go 4-1 to get the $40,000 grand prize. He starts off with 3 winners. Buffalo, doesn't matter. He starts off 3-0. It all comes down to his last 2 games. His first is Seattle, -2.5. And for those of you who didn't pay attention, Seattle won the game by exactly 1 because they tied the game at the end and went for 2, which totally fucked over Sam. But no problem. He's got one more shot. Who did he take? That's right. The Carolina Panthers plus 4.5. They lost 9-0. All they had to do was score 1 touchdown. They had 1 touchdown fumbled over the pylon after a 900-hour review. And they had another beautiful touchdown called back on the dumbest procedural, this guy didn't line up next to this guy kind of inane penalty. So just an absolute torture chamber for this poor bastard. And that is how Jesse claimed victory. I believe he finished almost 72% against the spread for the season. Congratulations to him. He will be joining us as a segment in our next episode.
Oh my God. Poor Sam.
Sorry. The best quote from Jesse when I said, do you want to come on? What were you thinking? When that day was unfolding, he said, when I made my picks, I said, if I lose $40,000 because of the fucking Panthers, I'll never be able to live with myself. And I said, now you have to come on the show because you speak for literally every single one of our listeners.
We went 2-6 picking the Panthers this year, and they're primarily responsible for our big balls bet of the week terrible streak in the middle of the year. I am so sorry for Sam. I hope we did not influence your decision to pick the Panthers in any possible way. But we look forward to seeing you on Sunday at the Shepherd and the Knucklehead. Doors open at 4 p.m. Live show at 7:30. Sam will be there to take the blame off of us and put it all on his shoulders. RSVP in the link in the description page. Free entry, free drinks. Even though it's free drinks, we'll still be buying Sam plenty of drinks at the show. Be sure to catch our next episode of The Favorites live on the Action Network YouTube page this Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Download us from Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your pods. Rate, review, subscribe, leave us 5 stars, say whatever you want. Feedback is a gift. Until Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Love you.